Hello my friends, I will continue to tell you how I interpreted the book of Revelation to succeed in putting in place the elements that I have found long before I found the relationship of this book to my creation. I remind you that it's because I transform a painting into bullets of light driven by music, that I used lamps and that I developed a specific electronic modular system, that I discovered this relation which was the key to decipher this text so difficult to understand. As I didn't want to use a big electrical transformer outside the panels, had to supply the small 48 volts amps, which can be integrated in the flat box behind the paint and which light up enough, with 220 volts, which earned me some dangerous and very unpleasant shown secrets. I had to either add a big resistor, which I prefer to avoid because it was bulky and especially heated, or connect them in series of 4 slightly boosted or 5. Through numerous experiments, I had found that in order to better follow the music, it was imperative that the luminous figures be centers, which imposed geometric shapes with a number of lamps that was a multiple of 4 or 5. Each composition could only have one color and had to be in a specific location, allowing other lights image to be either larger or smaller. But I only found this luminous geometrical figure, which I cut out to animate with the music separately in several small paintings. I couldn't put them together, not knowing how big they should be in relation to each other and wondering about their color. I was completely lost until I discovered extraordinary similarities with the book of Revelation that made me decide to follow them, having no other thread. The result is ecstasium and its prodigious effects. I will continue to explain to you through a few examples how I succeeded in deciphering this mysterious text in which I found while hidden the assembly plan of this mandala painting that is so effective for accessing very high levels of consciousness so quickly and so easily. 4.6. In the middle of the throne and around him stand 4 living ones, studded with eyes from the front and from behind. Quickly, I identified this composition as curve fusion and its composition in X. These are also the branches of the rise coming from the central cross, confirmed by in the middle of the throne and other later details. But how to represent these characters? I painted several expressions that did not satisfy me. Fortunately, on February 2, 1999, I received a strong vision that brought me the missing details for the realization of the 4 living ones in painting. At the same time, it confirmed that the inner structure of the tent, or celestial diamond, that I found was the correct one. I saw one on the 4, the man, which was enough for me by extrapolation to represent the other 3. On the corner, on the inner square, where the connecting triangles with the diamond-shaped square of the diamond tent give the impression of spread wings, there was geometrically drawn in blue the beginning of the top of the skull, a face shape looking toward the center, arms raised upon the spread wings. On each side of the head there was the beginning of the underarms raised and the drawing of the size of the character. A shape colored in blue under the chin form the volume of the chest. The triangles attached to the horizontal square evoked a second pair of wings folded over the body. The four characters are identical, each with its associated colors, and the head covered with a headdress like the Amerindians, evoking the bull, the lion, and the eagle. Without this vision, I could have searched for a long time. The eyes will raise many questions for me. After various tests, I chose the silver glitter that lights up in a directional light, causing a strong sensation when it appears. 4.7. The first living one is like a lion. The second living one is like a young bull. The third living one has the face of man. The fourth living one is like an eagle in flight. There are other details that will be discussed later. In the meantime, it occurred to me that there are several levels of understanding of this symbol. The most obvious one found in many traditions, not only Christian. Each of these figures is linked in church statuary to one of the four evangelists. It is a relationship with colors. The same one that appears to me in the great square vision surrounding the heavenly Jerusalem. We find circles of figures, including these four colors, all over the world: India, Tibet, Korea, South Africa, etc. With a nuance, the yellow is sometimes replaced by white, which is not very far. But how do we connect the descriptions in the book with these colors? The connection that I found glaringly obvious and yet have not read anywhere is the zodiac. These four figures each represent an astrological sign and the associated color. The most obvious are Leo, with the yellow ochre, and Taurus, with the green of the pastures. In this perspective, the human face is that of Aquarius, the only human in the zodiac, connected to the blue. But there is no sign represented by the eagle. My readings made me discover what few people know. In the history of astrological signs, only one has changed its name and thus reversed its meaning. It is the eagle, the divine bird, the only one able, according to ancient belief, to fly facing the sun. He turned into a hidden animal, the scorpion, whose color is red. Some might find this description a bit too folkloric. Wouldn't there be a more scientific basis behind his appearance? It looks like there is. The four living ones, among their various symbolic meanings, refer to the four forces constituting the entire universe. The force of gravity, represented by the bull attracted to the earth. The strong nuclear force is the lion that hauls its prey firmly in its claws. The weak nuclear force, or disintegration, is the eagle in flight. The electromagnetic force is evoked by the Aquarius, which makes the waves flow. And the 24 ancient, while consulting a scientific review that described the constituent of the nucleus of the atom, the quantum, I noticed that there would be 24 particles identified. It is indeed the ancient, since they even precede the atom in the genesis of the universe. Whereas there are other fundamental scientific invocations in this text. I am only an artist, and have only quoted those which appear to me in evidence. Another relationship with science came to me a short time ago. The fact was the central square of the basic design that I used to build the whole compositions is 10,000 times smaller than the outer square. But it is with a human measure that we see it. At the angel we measure the heavenly Jerusalem said. The calculation show that is not true. This is an indication that we should turn to science, which has discovered that quantum particles are 10,000 times smaller than the atom that contains them. When we go through the book of Revelation, we find in several places the mention of the 4 living ones and the 24 elders in another context, exactly as in the painting The Gate of Ecstasy, Gate of Paradise, the luminous effects appear, disappear, and come back with another play of light.